This hour. A two-day conference which will focus on water security and provision is set to get underway this morning. Several municipalities are still battling with water interruptions while many rural communities also remain without access to tap water. The National Water and Sanitation Indaba has been convened to address these issues, and President Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver the keynote address. Newzroom Afrika's Karinda Jagmohan is joining us now live from Gallagher Convention Centre in Midrand. Karinda, very good morning to you once again. About to be in conversation with the Deputy Minister or the Minister of Water and Sanitation. You can go ahead.
Good morning, Aldrin. Well, actually, both of them join us today to speak about the state of water provision ahead of this critical, important conference that is taking place. Now, just before we get into this conversation, a reminder of the statistics regarding non-revenue water losses countrywide. Nationally, that figure sits at about 47% in terms of non-revenue water that's lost through issues of vandalism and infrastructure issues across the country. At the top of that, eThekwini sits at 56%, Johannesburg 48%, Pretoria about 32%, Cape Town about 29% of their non-revenue water lost through these issues. The Minister joins us now, as well as the Deputy Minister. Minister, let me start with you. Thank you so much for your time. You have stated that South Africa is not in a water crisis. You blame the issue on municipalities. Let's talk about this.
Thank you very much to you, Karinda, and the viewers. Indeed, I'm not blaming them, but I'm putting the mandate squarely on their shoulders, because the Constitution so says we have no crisis in terms of water supply, in terms of water resource. We have enough water. The reason why you see water running down the street is because we've pumped that water, but that water does not go to intended beneficiaries, because there are leaks, there are illegal connections, there's vandalism, and therefore municipalities have a role to ensure that they close the leaks, they disconnect illegal connections, they bill people correctly. Even the water tanker mafias, they go to those reservoirs, take water, don't pay municipalities. So municipalities are unable to collect any revenue, but we bill them for the water that we have given to them, but it is their duty to ensure that they fix the water infrastructure and collect money.
I'd like to also bring in the Deputy Minister into this conversation. Your challenge is to actually try and get municipalities to spend money on infrastructure maintenance. Tell me about this.
Minister Majodina has identified that there are financial crises in municipalities and operational crises. She has identified 100 of them that are worst performing out of the 144. Therefore, the issue around the financing, to say they must ring-fence their financing from the traditional financing, which are the grants that they are abusing. The money that is coming from the water sales must be ring-fenced into a separate account, so that they can be a disclosure to be able, one, to fix the infrastructure minister is speaking about, but secondly, to pay the creditors. They must pay the water boards, and the water boards in turn must be able to pay the department, but more importantly, they must start to invest in new infrastructure for the growth in terms of population and the growth in terms of the GDP. That's why Minister is insisting that one of the issues is about the debt management in terms of paying off what we are owed, but more importantly, the money can be used that is actually meant for water for other activities.
Minister, then let's talk about the ring-fenced money. When it is returned to Treasury, what accountability do you want as the department now? Do you think this will be stated here at the conference today?
Yes, municipalities already have been identified that are owing huge amounts. We've already started withholding their equitable share. However, it is not an ideal situation, because that equitable share is supposed to do other things, other services of municipality. But the problem is, if we don't do that, the water boards are going to collapse. If they collapse, water is not going to be purified. If that water is not purified, we're putting the nation at risk. There'll be diseases if people just take raw water and drink it. So we are also saying on the meek funding, there's a portion of water. We want every portion of water in every grant to be ring-fenced in a separate account, and it must deal with water and water resource. But also we're calling in private sector, the business community, to come and plow back in the municipalities where they operate, because they also consume a lot of water. The beverage companies, they consume a lot of water. Therefore, they must come to the party and say, we want to conserve this resource, want to have this water continuously as the community. So they must come in.
Just lastly, a very short message to the South Africans that are watching that may be very irritated because they don't have water right now. Deputy Minister.
We know that there are many South Africans that their rights are being violated of not having access to water that is safe and decent sanitation. President has said this is an immediate crisis and a priority, and Minister Majodina has called everybody here. From here, we are actually going to turn the corner and will not tolerate any prisoners that are going to be in a position to delay the right to access to water and dignity.
Thank you very much for your time. This is Minister Pemmy Majodina. Deputy Minister David Mahlobo, he will actually open the event today. The Minister will also give that address just before the President takes to the podium. And of course, South Africans are watching very closely. This water conference brings together experts, it brings together officials that are here today, the President as well. But for somebody who's sitting at home, who needs to go to work this morning and doesn't have water, wants to hear about when they'll get water back into their taps, we hear that the matter is at a municipal level. There's talks about ring fencing funds to ensure it's spent only on infrastructure. But today we'll hear about accountability in this regard and what will happen going forward with regards to also bulk water supply. The Minister says there's enough water. It's the municipalities that need to be responsible in how they use this precious resource. I'll give you another update in the next hour, Aldrin.